what's going on, you vote by mail motherfuckers? Welcome to the Crocs and Hot Pockets podcast. My name is Knackers, and today is Sunday, November 8th, 2020, and this is episode number 134. Our guest tonight on the podcast, we have Mr. Lobro. How's it going, man?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I have known of you for such a long time. I don't know if this had to have been years and years and years ago, but I think I had been just browsing around on Twitch, and obviously your camera caught my eye just because of all the colors. And then I thought I could have swore I followed your channel right then and there. And then life goes on, and then I had seen you pop up every once in a while, and then I had gotten you confused with a different streamer. And then something recently just happened where we interacted with each other on Twitter. I'm like, what the fuck? I know this guy. I've seen him around a bunch, and do you remember what exactly it was where we like rekindled our internet familiarity?
God, asking me to...
I'm sorry.
I don't know. We agreed on something, and it was beautiful. That's the most important part, in my opinion.
I remember what it was. Okay.
What was it?
No, it's juicy. It's juicy beef. It's other streamer beef.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's in our Twitter DMs if you want to, after the show, go back and remind yourself.
Oh, cool. Okay.
However, but we don't beef here. It's nothing but
Absolutely
love here.
Not.
So we've known each other for a bit, and I felt like the path that I had taken recently in life, where I had really started to consider both physical and mental health, and it seems like that's a journey that you have been on for quite some time. Aside from your physical, might I say, transformation. You know what's funny is you don't think people are overweight until they lose weight, and you're like, oh, I guess he was a little chunky boy, but now look at you.
Thanks, man. I have people who have literally come up to me and been like, so like, are you gonna lose more weight, or like, what's your next step? I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna lose more. They're like, but you, like, are you like, yeah, you shouldn't lose too much. I'm like, what kind of culture do we have? I'm getting healthy.
Does that bother you at all when people are like, are you sure you want to lose more weight?
Yes, it bothers me.
Okay. All right, good.
But I mean, I don't want to tangent too much, but like, instead of like losing weight, it should be like just pursuing whatever goal you have. If that's transforming your body into being more fit, great. If you're gaining muscle, great. But I just mean by losing weight, I mean just body transformation in the positive direction, whatever that goal is for you. But
sure.
Anyway,
did you? I
lost 75 pounds.
Holy fuck! I did not know it was that many. And again, like if I look back at pictures, because I think the picture that you posted of like your weight loss transformation was a picture from TwitchCon, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And again, I'm asking you to recall things that you've done second nature 2 months ago.
A year and a half ago, I weighed 230 pounds. Yeah, 230 pounds. At TwitchCon last year, it was probably 200, 215.
Okay.
And then sometime mid this year, I hit 155.
Wow. And how tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
Wow.
So I am now mid BMI.
Okay. Yeah, because you're probably only an inch or inch and a half smaller than I am. That's kind of crazy.
Okay. Smaller.
Little small boy. It's small, no
boy.
longer chunky boy.
Well, thank you. Thanks for all the compliments. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome. One thing that I have been fighting with recently, and I was just having a conversation with my girlfriend on the couch, and I said, the reason I think I've been feeling so shitty is that I've fallen off with running. I had a couple injuries. I haven't been able to run. And I was like, I'm so sick of feeling like shit based on what I eat. And so I'll go on these, like, edible tangents. Well, I'll be really, really good for 3 weeks, and then I'll eat like shit for a week straight. Are you, when you were larger, did you feel like shit because you were eating like shit?
Yes.
Okay.
So the reason why it's so hard to lose weight when you're in that, at least for me, when I was in that stage, which by the way, I do want to circle back to the mental health thing you mentioned.
Sure.
But when you're losing weight, shoot, what was that? What was the last thing you just said? Because I just lost my train of thought by mentioning I didn't want to forget the other thing. But anyway,
the mental health of
before that, what were we just talking about?
feeling shitty based on what
feeling
you eat.
shitty.
Yeah.
Because there's so many things that are causing it. So like when you're trying to lose weight, when you're in that stage of life, when you've let so many things go, and I have and still do, but like it's managing getting enough water, it's managing getting enough sleep, it's managing cutting back on caffeine, it's managing figuring out what foods are good for you, what foods are actually like not great for you and you don't really know about it because you probably need to do like a Whole30 diet cut for a while and figure out what your body, is good with and what it isn't. But like when you start like one at a time though, like that's the big thing, one of these things at a time. But when you start moving in that direction, I think that's the biggest thing that I learned. It was just like, you tackle one thing at a time. If that means more water every day, do that. And then
it's a good place to start.
If that means, and if that means more veggies every day, okay, do that. But don't try to add on like and do a ton of things at once. Like if you're gonna start a big diet on Monday, it's gonna last 3 weeks and you're gonna quit. But if you say starting on Monday, I'm going to eat one more veggie every day, and then after a couple of days you're like, okay, I can eat 2. And then after a few days, I can eat 3. No, this is a real thing. It's called tiny habits. Start tiny, 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 and then you build up. And it literally, it's just to build the habit. It's not to be successful with it. It's to build the habit. And then eventually it builds that success because of momentum. Anyway, I don't know if I'm tangenting too much.
Dude, okay.
I love this stuff.
If the middle name of this podcast is Tangent. Like the joke is that this podcast is actually called Crocs and Hot Tangents because I've had podcasts for 3 hours because we've had guests that just can't stop tangenting, and I fucking love every minute of it. So
that just means we have good chemistry, man.
Exactly. So don't ever feel like you can't veer off into a tangent.
We have chemistry.
Can you pretend that I have an echo sound?
The only downside to that is now stuck on your recording.
It is. And you know what?
Sorry about that.
Thankfully, we have post-processing where I'm just gonna enhance it.
Wow. Oh.
I've had a couple two different things. First thing, I was somebody who tried to cut out too many things at once, and I'm still successful with it, but I don't recommend it. So I've
done it and I'm successful with it too sometimes, but I've failed more than succeed.
Yes. I got rid of like shitty eating every day, caffeine and nicotine all within like a couple months. And
I did something similar too.
It was really rough, but I'd rather, looking back, I would have much rather had a couple months of absolute hell rather than a month of hell and then a little bit of heaven and then more hell. How are you with caffeine right now? Are you an everyday drinker?
Yeah,
okay.
That's actually one of the things I'm working on right now.
Okay,
is cutting back on caffeine. But otherwise, like if we're talking like I actually want to mention this because that's kind of one of the things that I did when you said like you quit all those at once. Last year I quit nicotine earlier in the year and just switched to just cannabis, which helps with Crohn's disease and the other things I've got going on. And then, well, also because it's amazing, but and then last year, at the end of the year, I was like, you know what? I'm quitting alcohol. And I decided I would quit for a year. It's now November and I'm like, by the way, I'm having a kid in February. I'm like,
I'm sorry.
You know what? No, it's cool. I'm like, you know what? I don't need any alcohol.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm done. Like, I don't need it.
I think
for
that
the
was
foreseeable future, I just don't need it. And so, like, I guess what I'm saying is, like, just like one of these steps at a time, one thing at a time. And it works so well to do it that way anyway.
I think that was another one of the things that had popped up on Twitter where I was like, oh, I want to talk to this guy because I kind of wanted to hear about that as well. Because I think with, especially with social media, we always see the final product of something. And I think streamers by nature are all about the destination, right? And something that I've always been keen on is when I see somebody like post or talk about a final product, my dick gets hard and I go, the process. I want to hear about the process. So when I see things like this on Twitter, I always want to reach out and be like, hey, I want to hear about what happened between then and now because I like hearing about the journey that people went through because I think that's the most interesting part.
The story is always in what isn't said.
Yes, 100%. I think, what was the big turning point for you to lose weight? What was like I fucking have to do it now?
I think I've been to a lot of these, like I read a lot of personal development books or anything about life and just growth and development and great stories about people, just to grow, whether it's good information or bad. I process it and figure out, what works for me. But like, I just absorb a ton of information. And so one of my favorite books, I can tell you if you want, but like I've read it multiple times, and eventually I was like, you know what? I had to make this decision between who I want to be and who I am now. It's like I can't get to where I'm going if I don't make decisions now. I can't just keep thinking about the future. I was like, at some point I was like, I want to look sexy and like no clothes. I want to look in the mirror and love me. And you know what? It wasn't even the thing I learned about that. It was like, I can't wait to love myself. I learned that I had to love me where I was at. And then it was easy to lose the weight.
Right.
Because I wasn't mean to myself to do it. I was like, you know what? I love me for me. I had to accept where I was at. And as soon as it happened, I was like, okay, I've got this. And it was just a mindset. You have to decide you want it more than the things you are doing now. You just have to like, yeah. And sometimes that's hard. But, yeah. Turning point was just deciding to quit alcohol was the huge turning point, I would say. But yeah, it was me deciding I need a huge change.
This might be a personal question, but how much were you drinking? Were you drinking too much, or you just knew that it was a crutch?
I was getting towards the point where it was probably too much.
Okay.
Like I wasn't getting drunk every day, but I was definitely having a couple drinks every day to the point, I was like, okay, maybe this isn't healthy for me. And I was drinking beer, a few times a week, getting it from the local place. I love a good beer, but I'm not going to drink it now.
Where do you land? Okay, so one of the biggest stigmas about losing weight is that you shouldn't lose weight, because one thing you just said really stuck out. You wanted to feel sexy with clothes off, right? So you wanted to be able to look at yourself and be like, oh man, I feel great. And there are people that think you don't have to lose weight in order to love yourself. You can love yourself the way that you are.
Yeah.
But I still have a desire to be like a little nice looking, right?
Porque no los dos. Like, you can have both. Love yourself where you're at and still have goals.
Okay. So that was going to be my question, because I feel like a lot of people, they don't know where they land when it comes to, I want to love myself, but I want to lose weight. I want to love myself, but I want to go and work out so I can build a better body. And I like having this conversation with people that have physical health in mind, because I tend to lean on the side where you shouldn't completely love yourself, because if you are completely content with every part of your being, then there's no room for improvement anywhere. So you have to look at yourself and be like, I could probably work on that, and then go forward and move towards that goal. So I like asking different people about that, because I'd like to see where people land.
Here's how I see it. We can have intrusive thoughts, and then we can let it pass and say, that's not me. And that's totally normal. In the same way, I think we can look at ourselves and say, I love me exactly the way I am, flaws and all, but I am mindful of the things about myself. I'm mindful of the fact that I have a little extra weight. And because I'm aware of that, I can say, I want to look this way. I love who I am and where I'm at. It doesn't mean I love myself less, but I am aware of it. It's just an awareness.
Okay.
And I guess what I'm tying it to the mental health thing is like, when you have an intrusive thought and you let it pass, that isn't you. And so just because you have a flaw, it doesn't mean you can't love yourself about it. You can still love yourself and still work towards the goal. I think it's just an awareness of yourself.
Sure. What,
in my opinion,
when you were eating shittily, first of all, what was your go-to shit food to eat? What did you love? A lot. Like, what did you eat a lot of?
Fries and tater tots and anything potatoes. Like,
Okay.
I love potatoes. But the thing is, the biggest thing I learned about that was I never had to quit any of those things. It was always just about replacing some of it with something else.
Yes.
Just like one step at a time, like veggies with it. Okay. And eventually it was like, I don't need it for every meal. And then like, yeah. What about you? What was your favorite? You have a favorite munchie? I can't eat a lot of foods because I have Crohn's. So like my go-to is fries.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm not big on fast food, but I fucking love going out to eat. Like any like chain sandwich restaurant, like DeBella's or Jersey Mike's or Jimmy John's. I love all that stuff. Just going out to eat in general. We have so many mom and pop shops around here that we love going to.
Where are you at again?
Michigan, Metro Detroit area.
Cool. Okay.
And you talking about craft beer, we've got so much fantastic craft beer around here too. And I've actually been drinking a lot of whiskey lately. I just recently, after over a decade of drinking, have been able to stomach hard liquor, like by itself.
Wow.
Yeah. And it's way less calories. Like I can just have a glass of whiskey on a weekend and it's like, oh man, this is so much better than pounding 6 Corona Lights.
Yep. I'm the same way. That or wine.
I haven't gotten stuck on a wine quite yet.
Ooh.
I know I'm missing something. Like I was missing something with whiskey for a while.
So so I don't like the sweet ones. If you're drinking straight up like whiskey, that's what you're missing.
Right.
So if you're drinking the straight up whiskey, you need to go for like the straight up dry red.
Okay.
Like a Malbec or a Cab.
Dry. I hate dry things. Yes.
Really?
I'm not just thinking about it.
Okay,
like my mouth
mind.
is already getting, it's like turning into sandpaper.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I love dry like carbonated. I love dry drinks. I like coffee black.
You just awoken a part of my
Dark
brain.
chocolate.
Oh, no, I don't like, dude, fucking cocoa, like that high cocoa content dark chocolate. That shit can eat my ass. No,
yeah.
There are times where I drink carbonated beverages and I'm like, I can't. Why do I feel like I can't swallow? And you just put 2 and 2 together that like carbonated things taste dry to me sometimes. I'm a big texture guy.
Too.
Fuck whipped
That's why
cream.
I like sushi.
Oh, sushi. Fuck whipped cream. Fuck mashed potatoes. Mashed potatoes are absolute trash. They taste great, but texture-wise, no thank you. I would say probably my go-to sandwiches. Like, not like deli sandwiches, but like going out to eat and grabbing a sandwich from a place is probably one of my top favorite. I really don't know. I just like going out to eat. I just really, really love going out to eat. And it's not necessarily the like out and about. I've never been a big bar guy or a big club guy. I'm a restaurant guy. Like I like going there, sitting down, having a beer, chatting with whoever's there.
You must be an extrovert.
I am an introverted extrovert. There's a word for that, and I can never remember what it is.
Ambivert.
Is that what it is?
So, okay, my explanation of this, I don't think introvert extroverts exist. I think all of us are some like level of both.
Mm-hmm.
But I think people who need to recharge being at home alone are introverts. It doesn't mean they don't love people. I'm a huge introvert, but I love people and I'm outgoing. My wife is the opposite. She is super quiet, but she's an extrovert. She loves being around people. She'll go out and she'll be quiet hanging out with her friends, but that's what, refills her. And so like so she's an extrovert. And there are people who are like, I am fine either way. It just depends on my mood. That's an ambivert.
Got it. Okay.
So like we're all a little bit of each, right? Like we all get refilled by different things. Like if it's my close friends, I can be out all night long. But if it's like some, it just depends.
Right.
But I'm 100% an introvert personally.
Okay.
So I'm like going out and sitting at the bar. What? I mean, sometimes I would rather get food and go home and eat sushi at my desk.
Oh, okay.
With my dog.
I think when it comes to whether or not I'm an introvert or an extrovert, like if somebody was like, hey, we're going out to the bar on Friday, do you want to go? But then like my brain is like, hey, we could go home and edit OBS settings. I'm like, I'm going to go edit OBS settings. I'm a little bit of a workaholic. Like I love working. I love being productive on things. I just, in general, I just like creating
That's
things.
cool.
And
Me too.
when it comes down to, hey, do you want to go out and do the same thing we've been doing for the past 10 years, which is just drink somewhere? It's really hard for me to accept invites because I can always, and this sounds really terrible to say out loud, I can always think of better things to do for me. Not necessarily that my thing is better than your thing, but when it comes to like me as a person thinking about what's going to benefit me in the long run, it's like, absolutely I want to hang out with my friends. But in that moment in time when I need to make that decision, it's really difficult for me to go like, yeah, I'll just go and hang out. It's hard for me to say yes to that.
Are you closer friends with people online than in real life?
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's not because if my people online lived locally, I would be hanging out with them locally just as much.
Sure.
But I don't have a lot of people locally that share all the same passions as I do.
And I think that's pretty common across a lot of people. And I guess what I was going to say is don't feel guilty about being at home either. Like,
I
hey,
don't.
I find editing OBS settings, just as sexy. Trust me.
Yep.
But, I don't think there's anything wrong with being an introvert.
Yeah, no, I don't either. My girlfriend, she enjoys people, and but she's the same. If we're going out for a weekend, like if we're on vacation and we're doing stuff Friday night and then Saturday night, Sunday she'll be like, okay, I need to not talk to anyone.
That's me.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. See, I'm the type of person where if I'm on vacation, I'm waking up and I'm going to see who's in the kitchen already making coffee because
So you probably lean extroverted.
Oh, definitely.
Okay,
I'm an
okay,
extrovert who prefers to be inside so that I can work.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, that's great.
I want to.
Yeah, so that's good self-awareness, by the way.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
It does make me feel guilty sometimes because it does. I feel guilty, and then I remember
self-awareness makes you feel guilty?
No, the not feeling bad about not wanting to hang out with friends of mine.
Oh.
So like I get guilty about it for a second, and then I realize, okay, actual true friends don't base our friendship off of how often they see me or for how long that they see me when they do see me. I know that the people that I talk to that are my best friends, when I see them again, it's, hey, what's up? Not, I haven't seen you in so long. Where have you been? What do you do? You're inside. You're on the computer all day. I don't get it. I block that shit immediately.
What, I've been reading, well, not reading, listening. I listen to a ton of books, lots of them. And I have listened to the same book like 4 times. I'm on my 4th listen. It's called Essentialism, The Art of Less. And it's like one thing I've learned, and it's not, I'm not being mean or anything. It's our time is our most valuable resource, and I'm going to spend it exactly where I want it. And if I have friends who aren't bringing joy into my life and I don't connect with in the same way as others, that's an every once in a while decision, not an all the time decision anymore. So it's really important to recognize those things and just be aware of that and spend your time exactly where you want to.
How do you explain that to somebody that doesn't feel that way? Like if somebody were to ask you like, hey, how come I don't see you as much? Or how come you don't come out and hang out with everybody? How do you go about explaining like, hey, it's not you, it's me type of explanation?
Well, the thing is, it's not you. It's them. It really is. So here's the deal. I'm not being mean. I'm just being honest. So you're honest with them. I'm not kidding. If I have friends bugging me, I'm just like, hey, I love you and I want to hang out with you, but I have other priorities right now that are a little bit more important than hanging out with you every week. If you want to hang out once a month, great. It's all about wording. Just say it in the right way, but be super honest. In my opinion, if you are super honest with someone and they get offended, that's that's on them. The best I can do is share my honest thoughts and help and try to work on it or work through it or whatever. But if that's not reciprocated, then the ball's no longer in my court. Like I have no responsibility, I guess. Okay. I don't feel bad about that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So I would say be honest. Yeah.
Do you find it hard to be blunt or honest as an introvert?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Took me a long time. I worked at a company who was a very extrovert company, and it really helped me develop myself as a person and, who I want to be and where I'm going. And so it gave me the confidence as a boss, because I had to fire people and stuff like that. So like it gave me So it gave me the confidence to say honest, genuine things to people. The word is candor, to have candor with people.
Okay.
So I had to learn that if I was going to fire people, just be honest and nice about it.
I can't imagine you firing anybody ever. I don't want to know what your business face looks like, to be honest. I like the face I see right now.
So here's, it's all about alignment, dude. If someone's at a company and they're not performing, it doesn't mean that they're a bad employee or they're a bad person. It means the job that they're doing doesn't bring them joy, isn't doing it for them, or they have other things going on that are probably more important. And if that's the truth, that's not, not necessarily, the boss's fault. They got to run a business or whatever. But like, I guess what I'm saying is like, I think I made my point, but.
Sure. I want to kind of circle back to real quick. 2 questions. 1, Essentialism, the disciplined pursuit of less. Yeah. That was the book. Okay. So I added that to my Amazon list. 2.
Fabulous book.
Is that the Arctic Pro wireless that you have on your head right now? Okay. Can you give me like a super quick, comprehensive review? Like is it amazing? Are there things that you hate?
So I'm a SteelSeries partner. So I am obsessed with these. By the way, I've had these since before I was a partner.
Oh, so, no shit.
I've had this headset I have had for almost 3 years.
Wow. Okay.
So this is my daily driver. I haven't for the last, few months, but this has been a headset that I have worn as much as I've held my phone for the last 2 years, working on my computer and being at home all the time. And so I have to use it 24/7. And so here's the best part of this head. I won't even tell you anything else about, it's great, wireless. You can walk around the house. I can listen to you. I can switch Discord over to the voice one right here and walk away from the desk and still talk to you. I can pick up calls on my phone while I'm on it. And the best part, what I was originally going to get to before I said I wasn't going to tell you anything else and then told you everything else, is this part. You can take the battery out and plug it into the base station and take the other one out and put it right back in your headset. You never need to charge it. You never plug it in. There's never any wire in front of you hanging out, which is the most annoying thing in the world to me, because I instantly lose my attention when it's hanging on me. And
look at how stretched out the part of this coil is, just like the end of it. Driving me insane.
No, man, I love it without, dude. It's so great.
All right. And yeah, the dual use of being able to have the Bluetooth on your phone and be able to listen into your computer as well.
And they're like clouds, dude. They're just like, you barely feel them.
Yeah.
And then I put leather pads on and I got like a huge boost in the bass and seal. It's just, sounds amazing.
Did they ship with open back cups, or not open back cups, but more open ear?
They ship with Aero something or other. Aero,
Okay.
it's like pleather almost, and then they also have like a cloth-ish one.
Okay.
That comes with it that you can definitely hear through. But these are aftermarket. I bought these on Amazon. I just found reviews that are like, yeah, this fits, and I was like, okay.
Oh, the ear cups are aftermarket.
Well, the pads.
Okay, the pads. How was can you go a full day on one battery?
I mean, how long is a day to you? I can go 12 hours on one battery, but I'm going to keep going.
Okay, so that was going to be my question. It's like an 8-hour workday. Are you working from home right now?
I'm a stay-at-home future dad.
Hell yes. Well, that's unfortunate that you're going to be a dad, but
I'm excited.
Full disclosure, I hate kids. I'm not a dad. So I'm glad that you're stoked.
Thank you. I thought for a long time I wasn't, going to be a dad or think it would be something I wanted again, but I'm here I am. I'm excited.
Awesome.
Yeah. And you know what? Here's the thing. I'm glad that there's people out there who don't want kids. That's a good thing too. That's great.
You want to do a podcast? I'm here. Babysitter? Fuck off. I want to circle back to something that we were talking about earlier because I want to get your opinion or kind of your explanation of it for myself and also for my girlfriend. Tiny habits. So I think one of the main ways that we're taught about habits is that you need to stay on it for 20 something days. You need to do it every day for 20 something days. And then there's a really good chance that it's going to get baked into your routine. Now, as far as the tiny habits are going, is that something that you do in very, very small increments every single day? Or are you doing it in small increments and then skipping days as well?
Small increments every single day.
Okay.
And here's the thing. I don't think about it in the number of times I do it. Here's how I think about it. I think about it as you already have habits. We're all habitual. What you do is you find, I have all sorts of these, right? This is a trick I learned from a book called Atomic Habits, but I swear to God, this stuff is like magic, okay? It's called habit stacking. So there's already habits you already have in your normal life. So for example, after you go pee, do 5 push-ups.
Before or after washing your hands?
After.
Okay.
Or before, whatever works for you.
On the toilet. Head in toilet.
Or anytime you walk through a door, you got to do like a pull-up, or every time you get in your car, you have to take a moment to be mindful, like a minute before you get out. I don't know, like we already have habits, so stack it onto something else, and eventually that becomes easier to do.
Interesting. I've never thought about habit stacking.
It's great. It's magic.
It's more so like things that necessarily aren't habits. Like peeing isn't a habit. Peeing is a necessity. But because it's routine and because you have to do it every day, if you're stacking something on top, that's really fucking interesting. Okay.
One of my favorites, and this is kind of a crazy one because it's a little out there, but like one of my favorite authors says, whenever you Brendan Burchard, he's amazing. Whenever he walks through the door, he reminds himself of his mission or his purpose. Just like of like his 3 words or something specific to him that really like resonates with him. He repeats it every single time he walks through a door frame. Things like that, just to keep yourself always in the moment or to where you want to be, and to remember that, you know, we only have so much time on this earth, right?
Right.
Memento mori.
Is he Miracle Morning?
No, he is high performance habits.
High performance habits. Okay.
And the Motivation Manifesto, which I happen to have.
That is a
with me on my
Bible.
desk.
That is bound like a Bible.
It is, but I like this a lot, maybe more. But anyway, it's great. The Motivation Manifesto is like, and it's the funny thing is that you mentioned that it's sort of written like one, but it's a declaration of life.
Okay.
It's like okay, so like there's a bit here called, I just open it up, called The Cost of Fear. To tame fear, we must recognize its horrid effects on our lives. What comes of us when we are motivated by fear, we lose our emotional center and mental character. He just talks about fear on motivation, sustaining motivation, wicked things in life, good things in life, self-oppressions, like on freedom. Like it's a really good book on like life and just, yeah, I don't know.
It also doesn't look that thick. It looks actually on the smaller side, yeah?
It's a very easy read.
Okay. Yeah. Do you prefer listening to books or reading books?
Depends. Both. Depends on the type of book and the reason I'm listening or reading it. So if it's a novel, I'll just listen to it.
Okay.
If it's something I need to read to work on, I will read it. Like, again, another book. Bullet journaling. I've been reading I didn't need the book, but I've been reading it to just get better at it. But I have the audiobook and this, so I can listen and look at it and see what he's talking about. And so I don't know. It depends on the thing. Some personal growth books I'll just listen to, like Essentialism. But I'm listening to Red Rising right now too, which is just a novel.
Okay.
I don't know. I listen to a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's just from you talking for the past like 45 minutes, hearing about how much you've read or listened to.
I consume tons of information.
A lot. So
it's obsessive.
Are you a movie or a TV show watcher? That's a no.
Okay, here's the thing. I love both, but I have to be specific about what I watch nowadays. So like, yes, I love both, but like when I turn on the TV, what am I going to watch? I'm going to turn on The Mandalorian and nothing else. Or if I go to the movies, I'm going to go see like something great, like I don't know, a Disney movie or Marvel or Star Wars or even something that, you know, it's independent but it looks like a great movie. I'm going to go out to see what I want to see, but be specific about that. I have seen a ton of movies and shows. I'm obsessive about that stuff, but I guess I have cut back a lot.
Okay.
I don't know. I like both. What about you?
I feel bad for my girlfriend because she has so many TV shows and movies that she wants me to see. Ones that she grew up watching that are super near and dear to her heart. But in the same way that I can't give time to my friends on a weekend, I cannot give time to TV shows or movies unless it is 110% in my interest to do so. And this is, I do this to a fault because just catching a movie with my girlfriend is a totally like normal, great bonding experience. I can't do it. Like, I fucking love her to death, but if she's like, hey, let's watch Battlestar Galactica, in my head, I go, okay, Battlestar Galactica, 7 seasons, 30 minutes. Holy fuck, that's a lot of hours. Can't do it. I can't make that commitment. Like, I am scared of that commitment from an entertainment standpoint.
Are there any that you do enjoy? Are there
Yes.
any? Like what things?
Yes.
Okay, I want to know that.
Mandalorian, I fucking loved. Ballers with The Rock, for some reason, that show just gets me hard. Billions. Have you ever watched Billions? I can't recommend it because it's just a show about a rich dude and all the weird rich shit that he does. Like, there's no substance to it, but it's a show that I love. So we have an entire list of movies that we have wanted to see. And in that list of movies is every single Marvel movie in chronological order, according to the storyline. And we're like, all right, we're going to watch all these movies in a row so we can get caught up. This is before Endgame had even like hit the theaters. We made it to Thor 2. And I was like, I can't keep watching these movies. It's way too much time. It was way too much. And so, well, we haven't watched any since.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't. Go ahead.
My wife and I don't have. When we met, we had nothing in common. It's almost a miracle that we met and fell in love. Just because we literally gaming, no, music, no, literally no interest. But what we did have in common is what we believed in, like our what we want in life and where we're going and all of it, where we are in life currently, and you know, the type of person that we have in common. So like, it was interesting. We had to learn how to enjoy things together. It took us a long time to learn what a date looks like for us, especially shows.
Really?
It was almost impossible to find a show that we would both like. It took so long.
Okay. That's actually really interesting. How long did it take you to figure that out? Like when you first met, you're like, okay, well, we don't have anything in common. What made you continue to entertain that relationship to get to that point where you're like, holy shit, we have a lot in common, just not in the normal sense?
I met her at work.
Okay.
So I see her all the time, right? I saw her as a customer first.
Ah, okay.
And then she started working there. And then she worked a lot of nights and struggled getting to know everyone that worked there because she was a kindergarten teacher. And so she struggled meeting a lot of people. And so she made it a goal of hers to like kind of just meet with every person that worked there once. And I knew this. She was talking about it, and we were sitting outside one evening after a shift, and I was like, so when do I get to sit down and meet you, and talk and catch up? And she was like, well, I was gonna go see The Bachelor tonight with some friends because I had nothing else to do. Like, she doesn't care. She just goes because it's the people, right?
Right.
She's an extrovert.
Yep.
So she was like, but I could do it now. I was like, okay. She's like, where do you want to go? I'm like, I don't know. There's an Applebee's down the road. So we go to Applebee's and we sit there. And I think that's the night that we really connected. And anyway, what continued to entertain the relationship, to answer your question, is We connected as people. Like, we already knew who each other were at work. We already knew of each other and our personalities, so like we already got along. But like in that night, because the question was, who are you? Getting to know each other, we found out that we had a lot of things that we wanted in life together and the same. And so it was it was a great date.
Interesting. So what was do you remember the first thing that you guys kind of connected outside of your, how do I say this? Go for it. Yeah, you already know what I'm saying.
Star Wars.
It was Star Wars. No shit. Okay.
And then Lego. Believe it or not. She's awesome.
I think
We put together a Lego set. Oh, was that how we connected?
I think that was another thing that I had noticed. I'm like, super interesting.
Hold on. I have a Lego tattoo right here.
Oh my God, you do. All right, then focus. There you go.
Well, it's face focused, so I gotta cover my face if I do. But yeah, we put together Lego sets for date nights.
God, okay, so that is what your date nights have turned into. Okay. The Bachelor. Man, you really have to love your friends in order to go and hang out to watch The Bachelor.
The thing is, that's the kind of TV she watches, though. It's just like worthless television, because to her, it's just like background noise. It's just something to have on that doesn't matter, to just not think about today, to just break, to just, and that's her thing, and that's fine.
Would it be
she's otherwise you would never believe it, because she's like the sweetest, kindest, like full of sugar person you've ever met. But she'll watch like The Bachelor and like reality television shows.
Oh
it's
my
really
God.
funny.
How do you feel about that type of content watching? How does that affect you? Can you watch something and just go, oh, it's just noise? Or do you personally ingest why Stacy stood up Rick at the dinner and everybody's losing their fucking minds? Because that's how I feel. I feel personally affected by that shit.
I do too. I am very emotional as a person, just mental health wise, and just my temperament as a person. And so she just isn't in the same way. She's the kind of person who's going to be coaching me through her giving birth, right? She's positive all day long. Like, that's her job at work, a manager of this company now. Like, she leads that energy and the good energy. And so to her, I think watching this is like, it doesn't matter. This is her way of unplugging instead. It doesn't really affect her in the same way, because she's unplugging. This is the enjoyment. Whereas for me, that would be energy sucking. So it just depends on the person and the perspective, I suppose. Okay.
Have you ever tried to Indiana Jones, like a different type of content in there, to be like, hey, if this is mindless and you're gonna watch something anyways, why not watch something that might benefit you or be valuable to you? Or are you just like, that's your thing, I can't convince you? You, as somebody who's constantly trying to improve yourself, constantly reading personal help, like, because I know that you probably already very much value your time. And like, if I'm going to sit and watch something for 2 hours, it's probably not going to be keeping up with the Kardashians. But to some people, it's like, well, I'm not really watching it. It's just, it's on and I need to veg.
Well, the best part about my wife is that she already does that stuff. She already listens and reads to books and makes that a priority in her life. And so her and I, our relationship is great because neither of us are above one another. We're just a team. And so like, if I feel like it's too much or something, I'm like, hey, like, do you think watching something helpful would be better? And it's not like I'm not telling her what to do. I'm just asking a question, right?
Sure.
I'm just curious. Hey, and that's the best. Working through relationships is kind of the best way to talk about it. Is just ask a question, find out. And so, like, hey, like, are there other things that we'd like more? And like, I've been watching this. Here's this book, and that was really cool. And so, yeah, we share that kind of stuff. And so, if I was like, hey, I just think you're watching too much or whatever. And honestly, she doesn't a whole lot. But if I thought she did, I would say that, and we would both grow from it. Like, she would learn. She'd be like, okay, like I appreciate that. Like, we're both willing to talk about those things. It doesn't really matter. And so even recently, we're doing a bullet journaling thing together. We're holding each other accountable for that. And so that's really helping us with our time and organization and stuff like that.
Okay. And I totally didn't mean that from a spot of, do you ever like just try and check your wife on all the shitty shit she does? And that was
No.
Okay.
No, I did not take it that way at all.
Yeah.
No,
it was more so like you as somebody, because I didn't necessarily know that she kind of had the same process as you, where she's somebody who's constantly trying to improve herself. So my question was more so go ahead.
I was going to say that's a mindset, and that's part of our belief system, is just always wanting to grow. It's not even just like the yearning to learn things and absorb information. It's the mindset of, what can I learn from this situation?
Okay. How long have you been that way? Yearning for the learning.
Always.
Okay.
Honestly, I think I've had ADHD my whole life. And so I think one thing that's really common with people who, if you have ADHD and they're listening, one thing that's very common is special interests. People who have that, basically, like, they have their few things that they can focus on for so long, but then there are other things, or most things very often, that are so hard to pay attention to because our attention is taken away. And it's frustrating to have our attention taken away when we are focused on something. And so I have always been obsessed with learning to make up for the fact that I am struggling, and that I can't do the same things other people are doing. And I didn't realize this about myself for a long time, until I realized that it was me making up for a lack of myself, because other people can prioritize and do these everyday things and get things done. And I'm like, I don't even know how they decide whether they put their clothes on first or brush their teeth first. Like, seriously, I know that sounds a little ridiculous, but I would have these existential questions about my morning routine. I'd be like, which one is the most efficient way to do it? And so, like, does
I'm not
make sense?
laughing because I'm just
No, please laugh. It's great.
I've never thought about that ever. It's always, for me, the way that I think about it, it's bathroom and then kitchen and then office. And I will do the things so that I have to walk the least amount. Like, I have to do the least amount of traveling. I've never thought about routine efficiency before.
But that's where I've gotten to, is like this shift in mindset that really helps me. Even this, bringing it back to the bullet journal, is I can craft that now. I can be intentional. I can say, okay, this is what I want my routine to look like. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I'll say I want to do this, this, and this. And, this is the order I want it to happen in, these 3 things. And if that means it's, got a few little things here and there in between that aren't always in the same order, if I got the same kind of general idea of my routine, it feels really good.
Oh, okay. Are you somebody who you have to check all the boxes, or are you somebody who, as long as I'm checking some boxes, I'm still feeling pretty good about myself?
So, bullet journal. Here's the top of November.
Okay.
I have not checked all the boxes. So, this is one of my habit trackers. So, like, this is the month of November. I'll write notes for any day, but I can track, like, whether I have to take pills every morning. So whether I've taken that, whether I've trained the dog today, he gets training every day. Whether I've meditated, I've cleaned something up, or whether I've done so I have like one thing I do every day, whether it's take out the trash or put away dishes or whatever. I have, one like, not chore, but I guess chore that I'm supposed to do every day.
Give me 10 seconds.
Yeah, you're fine. Did you spill something? Did he die?
So you're going to love this because you like checking boxes. This is something that I started back in August. So I call this my accountability calendar. So for every single day, I have exercise, meditation, water, vitamins, veggies, fruit, breathing, and fasting. And
wow, those are a lot of things. Yeah, fasting's great.
Might be too much because
yes,
because I fell off. But I sat down and I thought to myself, what are the bare minimum things that I need to do every day, like breathing and peeing and drinking water. And this was like the minimum list that I came up with. And the only one that's the hardest to do every single day is exercise, because there are days where you're like, my body fucking hurts and I don't want to go for a run. My leg hurts or my chest hurts or whatever. All of these other ones, meditation, you can do in 5 minutes if you wanted. Water, you could chug a glass of water and get that done pretty easily. This was not something that I had ever done until I turned 30 years old. And as somebody that was
Great.
trying to build new habits, this was super, super helpful for me.
So what I try to do when I'm looking, can you read those off again?
Yeah, sure. Exercise, meditation, water, vitamins, veggies, fruit, breathing. The breathing routine is the 4-7-8 breathing, where it takes I think it's 30 seconds or something.
Okay.
And then fasting.
So what I like to do is break them down or combine them. Basically, which one of these is essential and would help with the others? Which one is the tree where the others happen if I do this one?
Okay.
Find that cornerstone one and see if, like, for me, if I take my pills in the morning, I have to take it with water. And so that helps me drink water first thing in the morning. And so I tend to not have water as a habit anymore. Actually, I mean, I do have it on my phone or my watch to track how much I'm drinking, but now it's not as much of a intentional. It has to happen, especially if I put exercise on there. I'm going to have to drink a lot of water if I'm going to exercise.
Sure.
And so that's kind of how I'll figure things out now, is kind of work one at a time on the ones that would help the others. And then when that starts, if it is helping the others, then I'll habit stack that. Right. So.
Interesting. So I've never, because there are some times where I look at this list and I say, oh, that's a lot to do. When if it's 6 o'clock and I haven't done any of these things yet, 6 p.m.
You have the breathing and you have meditation. So why don't you breathe or do the meditation and then do the breathing right after every single time?
And that's what I've started doing is I start my meditation with that breathing routine, because that's honestly, that's a perfect segue from the craziness of every day and then to just sit down, breathe,
and what if
go.
Every time you have to take your pills, you have to drink a 20-ounce water bottle?
Yep. And that's
or something like that. You can combine all of these into one thing that really, yeah. Anyway,
okay.
that's what I like. I mean, if it's working, do your thing.
No, the reason I bring it up is because I always want some sort of feedback from somebody, especially somebody who's on the same journey. Has it been difficult for you to ask for feedback? In the past 5 years, growing up, and when I mean growing up, I don't mean a kid. I mean, how old are you now?
I'm 33. Okay,
so the majority of your growing up has been since 25 and up, and that's how I feel about my own life.
Yeah.
So, and I was always somebody who's like, oh yeah, I'm already doing the best, and I would just say that, and then all of a sudden when you start talking to people, and you're like, oh man, I am not the best.
Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Not a negative way, but when we're young, we're on top of the world. I think we know everything, and then suddenly we know nothing.
Yeah,
and then we realize that we have this uphill climb. Yeah, you're right. No, I feel like
your camera froze for a second there.
Oh,
you're good.
Hello?
You're good. But I thought it was my NDI that was fucking up. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I lost my train of thought anyway.
So. Fuck. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. What was the last thing you said? What were we talking about?
That's a great question. We were talking about growing up and maturing and then realizing you know nothing.
In the last few years. Yeah. And realizing you know nothing. Yeah. Most of my growth as a person has been in the last 5 to 8 years. And I don't think that's super uncommon anymore, especially because technology makes information so widely available. People mature quicker nowadays. And so I think that's pretty normal for someone to get a lot of growth in their mid-20s to early 30s. A lot of my friends have felt like their lives have, changed a lot in the last, several years in same age frame. So
sure. I want to be mindful of your time. Are you good for another 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay. Mental health. How long has your Twitch stream been centered around that?
So I've been streaming for over 3.5 years now. I started playing Overwatch, and my inspiration was, do you play Overwatch? Do you know?
I haven't in a long. I enjoy it.
Okay. So you know who Lucio is?
Yeah.
I wanted to be like a real life Lucio on Twitch. I was like, I want to be the person who plays good music and just gives good vibes and really just lifts people day, their day, be their support main, right? Lift up their day, and just that's what I wanted. And so it never really truly focused on mental health. It has always been a result of the show.
Okay.
One, just like the habits, my focus was something else, but this became part of that. And I realized this, like, even most recently, I've realized this. So for a long time, my focus was personal growth. I was just talking about, how I was growing, and I had the vulnerable conversation about myself. I would say, here's what I'm going through and here's how I'm working on it. And I would I'm not above anything. I'm not teaching anyone anything that I'm not doing myself. And so that was my show. It became this show about, me sharing about my life and hearing about others and encouraging them. And so very quickly, I kind of ended up not playing games as much because this turned into this. But I guess what I'm saying is I was focused on personal growth for so long and realized that isn't why people come. While it is a result of the show, it is a great benefit of what comes from it. But really, all along, what I've been doing is just leading vulnerable conversations, a safe place on Twitch where people can feel like they can talk. And just creating the environment for that by being welcoming, by asking the right questions, by stoking that fire of people and helping people, sharing them with what I'm doing a different challenge every month for our self-care and stuff like that. Just encouragement and community around being our best selves.
I am a terrible, terrible podcast host and was supposed to say, hey, my sir, can you please give us a quick rundown of who you are, what you do on Twitch? And sometimes I start the show, I black out, and then somehow we end up going down a certain conversation. And I
love it.
Exactly know how it goes. Because that was something that I really wanted to touch on. And I don't want to spend a crazy amount of time on it, but I was always super intrigued by where you might have started on Twitch and how you got to this point where you were focusing on self-help and mental health.
I can share more specifically about that. There is kind of a story to that. Yeah,
I'd love to hear it.
So I was playing mostly Overwatch. Back then, my username was actually Lobro Watch.
And I remember that.
So I played a lot of Overwatch, and I would start the stream just talking like this and then moving into games. I eventually got a hue light. I hung it behind me, and I was like, yeah, this neon light's so cool. And of course, the obsession for those lights just grew and grew. And what I realized was people were coming in to talk to me, not for the games, because, we'd be talking and the stream would start to be great. And then, after 20, 30 minutes, sometimes an hour, long discussion, jump into the game, people are gone. And it's not a negative thing. I'm just like, they're not here for my gaming content. I'm like, okay. So at some point I was like, it was the hardest decision. I had to quit the games. And I've gone back and forth and had to quit again before. I just did that most recently. And so realizing that isn't where people come to me, or like where, my strong suit was what actually helped me, because I cut out the things that didn't matter, right? Like I figured out what it was, and that helped me capitalize on what does matter. And that's actually what catapulted me to partner as well, was focusing on this and bringing in the neon lights and calling it neon positivity. And to tie it back into what I was mentioning earlier, I used to call my show the Neon Positivity Show, but I actually have decided to change it, because it's not necessarily just about positivity. It's about the vulnerability. And then, positivity comes from that. Personal growth comes from that. Like, our great lives and growth comes from the simple awareness of ourselves and sharing that. And so, yeah.
Do you still game?
Yeah, I love games. I say yes, but I haven't played a game in months. But I am a gamer at heart. I'm always going to play games. I want to play. I mean, yeah, I can't say I haven't played a game in months. I do, here and there. Specifically with my friends. Okay. Almost always with my friends while they're streaming or while, they have other stuff going on.
Is it Overwatch?
Oh, no, all sorts of games.
Okay.
Like, we were playing Among Us right as it was exploding.
Oh, okay.
Right before it was huge. Only a couple streamers were doing it, and my friends and I started doing it, and we were like, everyone's gonna, and it just overnight it was awesome.
It seriously was anyway, overnight.
I love that game anyway, but yeah, Among Us and just any kinds of games. Yeah, anything.
Do you feel drained by being a support person? Is that something that you need to recharge from coming on stream and trying to be a shoulder? And I don't know if you really call yourself Would you label yourself as an advice giver, or are you more so like a flashlight to where you illuminate the options for people, where you just try, instead of actually just giving you advice on what you should be doing, it's like, hey, here, if I was in your position, here's the way that I would think about something, and here are some other options for you.
If someone calls themselves an advice giver, I would be the first person to question that.
Okay.
Because the best coaches in my life, the people who have helped me the most, they're great at asking questions that make you think about yourself. And so would I label myself as an advice giver? Not necessarily. Do I give that through my questioning? Sure.
Okay.
But does that mean I'm above that? People in chat give me advice. I learn from them. I'm like, oh, hey, thank you for that. That's great. I'm not above getting feedback from people directly, live, right away. The thing is, that's what vulnerability is the willingness to listen and to grow or to change depending on your new information. That's one of the greatest skills in life that we can have, is change our beliefs or our thought process based on new information. That is one of our greatest skills as human beings. Anyway, but yeah, I would not label myself as advice giver. I love asking people questions.
Okay.
I would label myself as, I want to be everyone's best friend. I want to be their support. And to kind of circle back to that first question as well, where you asked about, like, is it hard to be people's support all the time? And like how do I manage the energy levels and stuff for that? There's multiple things I want to say about that, because that question comes up a lot, and that's super, super important to me. I had to realize I had to focus on myself first. If I'm going to be a support for everyone else, it's me first. It's drinking water. It's getting enough sleep. It's all these things. If I put others before that, then my energy's gone fast. Mm-hmm. What I realized was, if I take care of myself, I have all the energy in the world to give to others and to support others. And I still struggle. I've had bipolar type 2. I have ADHD type 3. You know, I've got my own issues and things, and my life changing and stuff. But so, everyone's got their challenges. But I'm not above, growing from, anyone else that comes through. And, giving support is pretty easy because everyone else gives it too. I have the support of the people who I'm giving support to.
Right. And it's not necessarily that you are trading the same type of support, right? Like the way that you are supporting somebody in chat might not be the same way that they are. I see it as a giving of energy. And when we were talking a little bit about introverts and extroverts earlier, like, I love people because people give me energy. Like, I could be sitting here falling asleep at my desk, not having a motivation to do anything. But if one of my best friends was to show up and was like, hey, we should record a podcast, I'd be like, oh, like that would just like wake me up. And that's awesome. It's not necessarily that they are actively trying to be a support shoulder for somebody else. It's just like there are certain things that give me light, that give me energy. And I think it's really important to find that thing. I am somebody who is struggling really hard lately, and the majority of it is because of my day job taking up so much of my energy. And the other half of it being not taking care of myself physically and mentally. I've been an on and off runner for a super long time, and I've just recently taken an extreme love to cooking. Like, I'm a huge fucking cook at home now. I love it.
Really?
Yeah.
I love cooking too.
But with everything that's been going down in 2020 and COVID and elections and seasonal depression, again, Michigan winters are absolute fucking hell. What state do you live in?
I'm in Arizona, and I get seasonal depression too, but it's the opposite. I know it's a little crazy, but I get seasonal depression during the summer. It's the worst during the summer because it's so hot. No, think about it. It hits 120 degrees multiple days during the summer. You can't go outside. You bake. It forces you inside in the same way during the winter.
That is interesting.
So it took me a long time to realize it. I realized this last year. I was like, oh my gosh, this is seasonal depression. It's in the opposite way. And I asked a bunch of friends. They're like, yeah, I have that too.
Interesting.
And
I guess it depends on what kind of person you are too, because she snaps, like one of my favorite people ever, and I
love her.
She is one of the main
She's wonderful
reasons why I am on the path that I am right now. Like she was the one that shed light on you can be a person who loves all this stuff too. Like you can be somebody who's self-aware and self-loving and
I love her.
yeah, just she's
Discovering her stream, I was so glad because she's one of the few people who I feel like I vibe very closely with as far as our direction.
Yes. Where she's also now lives in Arizona.
Yeah.
She'll go outside and bake. Like she doesn't give a fuck. She'll go out there when it's a fucking 120. She's like, oh man, that's so great. I'm like, Snaps, you are fucking crazy.
I'm getting better. For a long time, it was my confidence with how I looked in my body, but I'm getting better about all that, especially, after I've got lost weight, but I'm going outside in different clothes and changing my style. And like, after I don't know if I'm talking about myself too much, but bringing up about like the weight loss.
I brought you on here to talk about yourself.
I had to completely get rid of my entire wardrobe. Everything.
Well, yeah, 70 pounds?
Well, it was so crazy because it was so weird. One day it was like nothing fit. Suddenly it was like, oh my gosh, nothing does. And I showed my wife and I was like, not even my smallest t-shirt.
Did you lose some
actually
things?
My smallest t-shirt.
That you were sad about, like certain graphical tees or
so many.
Yeah.
I had tons of Twitch shirts, dude.
Oh no, that's right. All of that shit too. Speaking of
all my own merch is too. I can't wear it.
Oh shit. Okay. I'm now cementing this into my brain. Whenever I release merch, buy it in every size and physically archive it.
So I literally did that.
Are you serious?
Every single shirt I've released, I have multiples of saved away in a vault down here.
No shit.
And
okay.
Every year on Christmas, I've given one or two away from them.
Oh.
I do a whole like Christmas thing on my show every year.
That's really smart.
The fourth annual Christmas.
Okay. So one of the main reasons why I asked why you feel shitty from what you eat is because I am somebody who is so affected by the things that I eat. Like I can eat healthy all week and feel great. I had a really bad problem a couple months back. Quick rewind. Last year, end of the year, December, I just had like a complete meltdown, and I took a 3-month break from Twitch. I wasn't streaming, I wasn't podcasting, I wasn't creating content, and I really spent the time. I was waking up at 4 a.m. every day. I was practicing the miracle. Have you ever read The Miracle Morning?
That sounds
Hal
really familiar.
Elrod, I believe, is the
I bet I own that book. I bet I own it. I don't know if I've read it.
That was the first book that Snaps ever told me to read. She's like, you trying to do some new routines? Read this book.
Okay, well, writing it down.
Yeah, The Miracle Morning. Is it Hal? Yep, Hal Elrod. And so I completely flipped my sleep schedule. I was waking up at 4 a.m. every day, and I was working in between 4 and 8. And then I would start my day job at 8 and then work all day. And I was like a productivity machine. I was really focusing on myself, and it was great. And then like the year went on, my schedule changed a little bit, and now it's a year later, and I'm considering taking another break. And the majority of it is because like I love what I do for my job, but it is draining as all hell. It drains the absolute shit out of me.
What it sounds like to me that you're saying is you're not being intentional about your time off.
I have taken 1 day off of work in the last 12 months.
Okay. So how can you take more time off regularly?
As soon as
you need more vacations. No, it's serious. Yeah. It has to be a priority.
As soon as I'm done training this next guy, I'm taking a week.
Dude, I did that for I worked full time on top of streaming for a year and a half.
Yeah. I have never not worked full time. I've been streaming for 7 years. I've never not worked full time while streaming.
That's a long time streaming. Wow, dude.
Yeah. And I will always praise people that are working to any extent and also trying to do stuff on Twitch, because it is a nonstop battle of time. And I think it was Gary Vaynerchuk that said the spinning plate analogy, where he's like, life is spinning plates. You're never going to get them all spinning at the same speed. It's knowing what plates you need to go and spin at the right time and just maintaining a balance. Don't ever feel like because you're always going to be like trying to be the person that is running. If you just know, if you make the statement for yourself, I am always going to be running from plate to plate, and you'd be okay with that, it gets a little bit easier.
It's one of my favorite Gary Vee analogies.
I love Gary Vee so much.
I got to meet him 2 years ago.
Shut the fuck up, okay? I didn't bring you on here to rub in my face.
Okay, but you got to hear this now. Because this, I'm not going to flex, right? But like, you got to hear this now.
Yeah.
This is part of my Twitch story.
Go ahead and flex.
So 2017, late 2017, my company paid for, I worked at Dutch Bros Coffee. They're on the West Coast. They paid for Gary Vee to come down and do a private event. And yeah. And he stayed as long as he could until he literally had to go outside and walk into the helicopter and leave, because he was having such a good time talking to everyone there, because this company is the same way that I am about, personal growth. A lot of people there from the top down share about books and reading, and like in their leadership, they share that. Anyway, bringing this all the way back around, I saw Gary Vee late 2017. And after that, I told my boss that I'm giving it my 1 year notice because I'm going to quit at the end of next year. And he's like, okay, I'll help you. All right. And it was getting closer and closer to the end of 2018. And I was talking to Bree. I was like, this is the moment. Like, I wasn't actually going to pull through with this, but I'm making enough, I think. And I was like telling her, I was like, can we do this? And I was like, what if I could like actually follow through with quitting after a year and saying that? So I told my boss I was quitting in 52 weeks, and I did that exactly 52 weeks later.
Wow.
And I was inspired. I know it's a little crazy, and I know not everyone can do that, but I was inspired by Gary Vee after I met him, and I got a picture with him. And I was inspired to like really follow through with what I wanted to do, at least give it the biggest shot that I could, and follow through with it. And I did. And it was one of the best decisions I ever made. And so, yeah, his impact on my life has been massive. I've read all his books. I follow I love his content strategy and stuff like that. So, I mean, yeah. Anyway,
just from a productivity and creator standpoint, just following nothing regarding, because I know he doesn't call himself a motivational speaker, but he's motivational by nature, just in the way that he talks. But his content strategies of like applying the things that he's teaching just to your own content, not even just trying to be a better person. He is a fucking genius. And that's why I appreciate him. I've never met somebody who is a creator and a business owner, right? And I don't know all that many business owners, but when I think business owner, I don't think creative.
The cool thing that he has done is, it's not even, I wouldn't even call it business owner. I think what he's done that's really cool is he has made entrepreneurship, I'm going to always ruin that word, as an entrepreneur, he has made that he's brought a lot of light to that lifestyle, and that it's possible, and that people can lean into that and do that. And so, like, I mean, yes, of course he's running a business and we get that perspective, but I think more specifically, what's really good about it is we get to see what a successful entrepreneur looks like, and someone that wants to talk about it, wants to share it, and wants to teach, and wants to talk about how he does and how he, thinks. And so that's what people find valuable.
His Daily V show, where he just recorded his day and the recorded meetings. If somebody were to ask me, what kind of content do you think you're going to like to watch in a year? I would have never said, I want to watch a CEO and entrepreneur go through his day, record his meetings with clients that I have no interest in their business. I would have never said that. And then once I started watching it, I'm like, holy shit, this is like really, really valuable. I absolutely, I had no idea it was something that I loved. So I've been
That's cool.
A super fan of his audio podcast is like one of my favorite things. And I haven't been listening to it lately, but
me neither.
But I didn't think I knew that we had that in common. So I'm glad that we do.
Hell yeah. We need to talk more about a lot of things.
Yes, and I knew no matter how much time we spent tonight that it wasn't going to be enough, but I'm glad that we clicked like we did because I'm totally going to have you back
again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
On that note, we just have I think 2 or 3 questions that we can zip through and then we can close this up.
Totally cool.
Awesome. All right, first question comes from Middle-Aged Stream, and this is him. He's putting me in an awkward position because his question is, Knackers, why do you hate nanoleaves so much, you smug SOB? So
I hate them too. Go ahead.
There's 2 not so important reasons of why, and they're anecdotal. One, I like clean. The white plastic in the corners of the nanoleaves drive me fucking up the wall. They could make it without it. They fucking could, but they don't.
And they are now.
But
Their new ones aren't doing it, and they're interchangeable. Anyway, go ahead.
They don't look as clean as these ones do. Number 2, nobody on Twitch has their brightness and the aperture of the camera set properly so that you can see what fucking color the nanoleaves are. The only reason you have any inclination of what color they are is because of the walls surrounding the nanoleaves. They're always so blown out, you can't even see. So when I see somebody like you who has your aperture set properly and your brightness and your gain to where you can actually tell what colors they are, it makes me happy. You are one of 100 on Twitch when it comes to them.
Thanks. So, I mean, that's always been my biggest challenge. I love lighting, and so that's been the biggest challenge is getting it to look good. A huge downside of the nanoleaf is how they look behind a camera.
Yeah.
I had to have very specific settings so you can't see very much banding.
Yeah.
You can kind of see it barely, but I've gotten it mostly down to a science, and that's
I can't see it at all.
Cool. Great. Perfect.
So I appreciate the effort that you put in because I know
Thank you.
that window is so fucking small of like that perfect, like even just before the show to be well lit and to have these tiles show color and have the background have color. It's nonstop tinkering. So
yeah,
I appreciate the work that you put in.
Thanks, man. One recommendation I have is save your spot if you can, or save like if you have a scene that works, save that. Yep. Even across all the devices or whatever, save whatever it's at. Remember where that's at.
And then nest that scene and use it for other scenes.
Oh, I have so many nested.
Yeah, dude, same. All right, last question from Sonder. If you were a secret ingredient on a cooking show, what would it be?
Cilantro.
You're cilantro? Okay, so thank God.
Love me or hate me. If you love me, you sprinkle a little bit of me on everything. And if you hate me, I taste like soap.
Tastes like soap. I just went over to my parents' house and made fajitas for them. And my dad's like, is there cilantro in this? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, I taste it. I taste the cilantro because he's a soap eater. And cilantro tastes like soap to him. See, I was going in a different direction. I like where you went with that. If I was a secret ingredient, I would be cumin. Because cumin is something that I did not grow up knowing. My mom never fucking used. My mom put onions and chicken and rice in a pot and boiled them together and then gave us.
It's delicious.
No, it's fucking gross. I hate it so much. Cumin is something that comes to you later in life, and it's just so delicious, and it's something that you didn't necessarily know existed, but now that you know it exists, you have to put that shit on everything, like Frank's Red Hot. Which I also love.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love hot sauces.
In a way is a little bit conceited, but I treat cumin as like my discovery of mental and physical health later in my life. Like I am my own cumin. I didn't know that mental health maintenance was a thing, but now that I've started learning about it so much, I try to apply it to as many things as possible, and I'm so fucking grateful for it too.
You even said that you didn't know about how great cumin was until later on in life. Mm-hmm. And so in the same way, you didn't know cumin until later. You didn't know yourself in the same way until later. So
100%.
It's kind of this spiritual awakening of cumin.
Yes. Oh my God. I literally put that. If I can put cumin in something, I'm doing it. Fuck,
you're cumin
chili,
alive, dude.
Steak. I'll do it for like a chicken marinade. I love it so much.
I love seeing you cuming alive. That was a bad. I was trying to like. I was like, coming alive.
You could have said coming. Yeah. We are very sexual here. Like, jokes 90% of the time involve penises. So you were right on brand. Well, dude, before we get out of here, I want you to take a quick minute. Give us a summary of who you are, where we can find you online, what you're doing on your Twitch channel. If you have any special events that are coming up, sell yourself out.
Cool. Thanks. Well, my name's Lobro. I most of the time host vulnerable discussions on Twitch. What I mean by that is just having a discussion about ourselves and talking about goals, or talking about a mental health discussion of the day, or something we can be grateful for, and just exercises that allow us to become the best version of ourselves. That just creating the environment for that. I love people and helping people, and that's where my heart is. And so that's what I do on Twitch for the most part. I do have things in the pipeline that I eventually will come out, and more content that I'll announce. But for now, that's my main focus. If I was going to cut everything out and choose one thing, it's just hosting these discussions on Twitch. And I'm pretty inconsistent right now because of my personal health and the new dog that I'm training. But very soon, I'm sure I'll find my rhythm again. And so, when I'm live, I'm live. When I'm not. And I love
that's me
being
right
on
now,
others.
dude.
Thanks, man.
That's me right now.
I'm not even judging myself about it. And I love being on other people's shows. So that's what I'm all about. I want to be everyone's best friend.
It was super, super quick. I am also somebody that it's not necessarily that I want to be liked by everybody, but the people who do like me, I want them to like me a lot. Do you see that to be the same thing?
I have oft told people that on my stream, what keeps me going and what fuels me and what really makes me coming back to streaming is the gratitude that I get. So yes, I am completely and entirely fueled by people being thankful for what I do. If they weren't, like, I wouldn't be doing it. Like, there would be no purpose.
Sure.
I could make no money for the rest of I wouldn't support our family, but I would keep doing this just simply because that's what I believe in, and I love getting the gratitude from people in return.
Absolutely. All right, man. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you taking a large chunk out of your Sunday evening to come here and talk. Man. The conversation was, I knew what I expected, and you blew way past that.
Thanks.
I had an amazing time, and I would absolutely love to have you back. If
you love me. Of course. No, I had a great time. I told you from the beginning the chemistry is great. So, yeah, have me back anytime, buddy.
Absolutely. All right, man. Thank you guys so much for checking out the podcast. And we'll be back next week for 135 with Jimmy and Middle Age Stream. And again, thank you so much, dude. I'll catch you later.
Cool. See you later, man.
Later.